All right, Matt, we're starting something new with Fight Night Picks. It's called Fight Night Picks Parry Counter. The point of this segment is, listen, we don't have any fights really coming up. We've Cage Warriors 113 coming up this weekend, but we're not going to get in depth with the picks. But apart from picks, what do? We answer fan questions. So we threw it out there on Instagram and YouTube in the community tab. Make sure you throw your questions out there. And we're going to continue with different segments that we've had with This Week in MMA, with Significant Strikes, with question mark kicks. But this is going to be something new, and we got a lot of great questions this week. One of them here is, after Brandon Moreno beating Jussier Formiga, where does that put them in the rankings? And do you think that the rematch will happen between Benavidez and Figueiredo? If it does, should Brandon wait for a title shot or rematch with Pantoja to solidify a title shot? Now, I think this is an awesome question because you and I have been talking about flyweight for some time as being a division that it's one of the most exciting out there, and we really pumped the tires of the fight between David Dvorak and Bruno Silva, which ended up being an awesome fight.
Formiga Moreno was amazing too.
It was a win for the former chess champion and David Dvorak over Bruno Silva in Brazil. But in terms of the top end of this division, it's really tough because you've got no champion. You've got, in whatever order you want, but you've got Figueiredo, Benavidez, Moreno, you've got Formiga, and you've got Pantoja. So that's pretty well your top five. You have to have an odd man out there, and it's pretty weird to think about it, but I would have to say that right now, Joseph Benavidez might be the odd guy out. Jussier Formiga's on a 2-fight losing streak, and he lost to Moreno and Benavidez. But just the fact that Benavidez has been there, he's had ample title shots. Deiveson Figueiredo's in a weird gray area right now where, yes, he's a tiny goblin, but you have to worry about, is he going to fight? Is it going to be another title shot? What's it going to be? And the weight issue has to be an issue. And then you look at the fact that Pantoja has looked very good, and Brandon Moreno, since he left the UFC, had that one fight with LFA and then came back. He's pretty well, apart from having a draw against Askar Askarov, he's been blowing the doors off the fight game.
100%.
He's so much fun to watch. So if I can let the cat out of the bag really early, I think Brandon Moreno and Deiveson Figueiredo is the fight to make.
I think that is the fight to make. I don't agree with you, though, that Benavidez is the odd one out. When you look at those five, who has wins over other people in that top five? Formiga's never beat anyone else in the top five, except for Figueiredo, who beat Benavidez. So it's really weird when you look at it. There's kind of this triangle. I think Formiga's out, and it's unfortunate that this is the reasoning as to why I think he's out of that top five. Name 5 Jussier Formiga fans.
Well, that's a weird question.
No. UFC comes very much in popularity when it comes to who gets the title shot, and especially when you have, again, 5 guys who all kind of have a bit of an argument as to who should get the title shot. It's probably going to come down to Brandon Moreno, who, to the casual fans, they might not know who he is, but they know he's got a very exciting fighting style. He's main evented a fight night in the past, which is actually a really big deal. And he's got a style that when you look at what Figueiredo brings to the table, that just has fight of the night written all over it. So I do agree with you. I think Moreno will get that next shot, which is unfortunate because Joseph Benavidez deserves to be a UFC champion at some point in his life, and he's probably never going to be able to realize that opportunity just because Figueiredo just knocked him out. I know he missed weight, but that is going to stay in people's minds. People don't really care about the weight when it's all said and done. People are only going to remember the result, and the result being just a brutal knockout, really. You can lose a controversial decision and get a rematch. It's hard to lose by knockout in the second round and get an immediate rematch right afterwards. But with Moreno being on the run that he's been on, he's got a really good story about getting caught by the UFC, being brought back, and now he's got on this big run beating top contenders. I do think Moreno and Figueiredo should be the next fight, but it's hard to put Figueiredo in a title fight not knowing if he can make the weight or not. So the safe bet would probably be they do Benavidez and Moreno for the title and have Formiga just be the number one contender. Just say no matter what happens in this fight, you're going to fight the champion. Figueiredo. You have Figueiredo, have him front row, have him, he can claim that he knocked out Benavidez and Benavidez wins, and if Moreno wins, that's just a really fun fight to set up in the future. So that's what I would like to see. You could just match up Pantoja and Formiga. I know Pantoja has the 2 wins over Moreno. He beat him, of course, once in the UFC, which gave Moreno his, which got him cut, and then he also beat him on the Ultimate Fighter, and they were 2 pretty resounding wins, but I just feel it's a lot of what have you done for me lately, and when you really ask yourself that, Moreno's done the most, along with Figueiredo, so I think they will pair those two up eventually. But the whole weight thing's such a question that's hard to put anything in stone.
See, to me, it's really awkward, especially with the Joseph Benavidez fact, because just about everybody, it seemed, on social media wanted to see Joseph Benavidez beat Deiveson Figueiredo, except for Deiveson Figueiredo's camp and trolls everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of the fights to make, I think that realistically, you have Figueiredo fight Brandon Moreno, so there's 2 out of that 5. Then you're left with, if you want Joseph Benavidez still close to the top, don't have him fight Jussier Formiga. You already knew what happened there. So you have him fight Pantoja. There's one fight.
Here's the issue with that, though, and it's the only issue. Pantoja's a really dangerous fight at 125. It's weird, because for the longest time, 125 had no knockout artists. It was like John Lineker, but he missed weight every other fight, and he had to move up.
John Dodson, but he moved up.
And John Dodson, but then he's just been really inconsistent as of late. It was a good win over Nathaniel Wood, of course. But now there's, like, genuinely 125 knockout artists. Like, when Figueiredo hits you, you're going down. When Pantoja hits you, you're going down. Benavidez has pretty good power, too. Same thing with Moreno, but... yeah, it's just such a weird place for the division to be in.
I think that's got to be the fight to make, but you never know. I mean, there's so many different moving pieces with the division. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But 125, so much fun. And maybe now you have 17, 18 fighters in the division, but the fighters that they continue to add in, at least they're building something.
That's true.
Unlike if you look at like women's featherweight right now, where it's just a revolving door and you keep the top 3, and you don't want to let Megan Anderson and Felicia Spencer go because they are both really good talents. You don't want to just give them away. But in terms of men's flyweight right now, man, it's a fun time to be a fan.
It's kind of wild that there was ever a conversation that this division was going to get cut. So, no, it's nice to see that there is a little bit more life back in the division. And I do think the controversy of Figueiredo missing weight actually helped the division in a weird way. A lot of people were worried, oh, it killed it. No, if anything, it guarantees you one more title fight. Like, that's all you need to do. If I was a flyweight, I would just focus on getting to tomorrow. That's all you have to do. Make sure you market yourself. Make sure you're always talking in the media, because you need a voice at this point. And when the division is as wide open as it is, you can get to the top pretty quickly. So if any UFC flyweights are watching, make sure you put your name out there. Really get your name in the headlines. Do anything you can to get to the top. Because like we said, there's 4 guys at the top of the division, and you can make that a 5-man race pretty easily.
Yeah, but really looking forward to it. Lots of big things happening with the men's 125-pound division. Really great question.
Really.
And in terms of Parry Counter, Matt, we're just going to continue on with fan questions. We're going to have episodes of question mark kicks. We're going to have This Week in MMA and Significant Strikes. And we'll keep on keeping on, as they say. And like we always do with Fight Night Picks, Matt, let's get into it.